A government-backed inquiry has found that the Dutch state used extreme violence, often deliberately, during Indonesia's 1940s war for independence. The conclusions of a 4.5-year study contradict authorities in the Netherlands, who've long held the position that the violence was sporadic. The report says the violence was condoned at every level: political, military and legal. Prime Minister Mark Rutte says the investigation's findings are a reason for him to reiterate previous apologies.
The Cabinet takes full responsibility for its collective failure, which is at the base of the extreme violence that took place in that period. In 2020, the Netherlands, through the King, apologised to Indonesia for the derailment of violence by the Dutch side in the years 1945 to 1949. The researchers reason to express those apologies again, here and now, for the systematic and widespread extreme violence by the Dutch side in those years, and for previous cabinets consistently turning a blind eye. I, on behalf of the Dutch government, deeply apologise to the Indonesian people.
Well, for more on this report, let's go live now to Fernand van Terts, who is joining us from the Netherlands. Welcome to you, Fernand. Tell us more about what the report found and crucially, the Prime Minister's apology.
So, really shocking in how strong its condemnation was. It said it was systematic and unethical and widespread violence used by troops in that 1945 to 1949 period, in which 100,000 people died as Indonesia fought for its independence. Now, they talk about things like mass arrests, the burning down of villages, inhumane treatment of prisoners, mass violence used against the population, and that is a reversal of policy, because since 1969 the government has said that these were just excesses which were used by just a few soldiers, but that it was not so widespread. And the Prime Minister, they're coming forward with that apology, full apology to Indonesia, which is really a reiteration of what was said in a small way by the King back in 2020, when he again used that phrase excessive violence, which is used by the government here for so long. But now the Prime Minister really uttering a full apology to Indonesia today, and also really taking responsibility for the role of the whole state in this: the government, the parliament, the army as an institution, and the judiciary, which turned a blind eye for so long.
A shocking use of force, as you say there, Fernand, that was outlined in that report. And obviously, the Netherlands is a country with a colonial past, and this apology coming some 77 years after the war. So how is the Netherlands now dealing with its colonial past, and is this being seen as enough?
Well, that depends very much on who you ask, of course. I mean, an association of veterans spoke out against this report. They feel that it is very one-sided, that it is not taking into account the feelings of the veterans who had to carry out this policy, though the Prime Minister, of course, was keen to point out that this was really a failure of the institution as a whole rather than individual soldiers. At the same time, you have Indonesians who say, descendants of Indonesians who say this is not enough. The Netherlands needs to take full responsibility, because this report also notes that there was excessive violence used on the Indonesian side. They say this is not a two-party thing, a two-party conflict, but that the Dutch need to take full responsibility as the perpetrators. Now, of course, this debate is shifting. We can see that in how the policy changed its stance just today, after so many years of holding on to that these were just outliers rather than a systematic policy. And so as the Netherlands continues to struggle with its colonial past, there's now a huge exhibition at the Rijksmuseum covering this period. The narrative is shifting, and the government admitting to that today is a real signal of how that is changing.